Let me guide you through how to work German short rows. These are an amazing way to add a few more rows in a specific spot. Lots of patterns call for it around the back of the neck so that you've got more rows in your neck versus the front. That means your front will be down a bit lower. I am working the Stockholm Slipover by PetiteKnit, and she's got a few German rows worked on just the one side to create a little wedge in here. There's lots of ways to work short rows. I'm going to be showing you German, which I have found to be the simplest. I haven't done too many others. I found German worked with my brain, so that's the one I've always gone for. Different ways of doing them is mostly around how you turn. So there's a wrap and turn method. There's Japanese short rows are the ones that are just coming to mind quickly, but they all just have a slightly different way of turning. And I've found that the German short rows have, for me, the most invisible turn. So I'm working on the body at the moment, but I'll just show you how they go. Generally what will happen, it'll say work to a particular stitch, and then it'll want you to turn. So we're on the right side here. Right side of the fabric is facing us. I've got my stockinette stitch. So I'm going to turn my work like that. And now we have the wrong side facing us. I'll just make sure I've got my yarn coming for me. And then what we'll do is always with the yarn in front, so a yarn in the front, and we will slip this first stitch purlwise, so slip it from left to right. And then because we're on the wrong side, we're going to come wrap your yarn up and round, so over the top of the needle, and come back to the front so that you can purl. And this is going to create a wee double stitch. So we'll deal with that later. Now we'll do whatever the pattern instructions say. So let's say we're going to purl 5. So there is my little wrap, funny looking double stitch there. So 1, 2, 3, I've just purled 4 and 5. Then it'll tell you to turn, and often in the pattern the word turn is all that there is, explaining that this is your German short row. So you're just going to turn your work. Then same again, now we've got the right side facing us, but we'll have the yarn in front to turn. And this is the difference of German short row compared to others. So we're going to keep our yarn to the front like this, and we'll slip this stitch purlwise. So that means that this right tip is coming from back to front, and we'll slip it. Then we want to get our yarn ready to work with. So we're going to be knitting, so we want our yarn over to the back, which is going to create another funny wee double stitch. And then we're just going to knit as per usual. So keep this one, don't let it go slack and come to the front. Keep it nice and tight. Oh, just slipped off there a wee bit. Keep it nice and tight and knit as you normally would. Now most patterns will say knit to so many stitches past the last turn, which is this funny looking two things together. So I am going to come to this, and as you get to your last turn, you're going to knit it as 1. So just go in there and knit as 1. Then knit to 2 stitches or so past the marker, whatever your pattern's telling you. And then you'll turn again. Same thing goes for another turn. So yarn in front, slip the first stitch purlwise. Then we want to get our yarn ready to work with. So we want to wrap round the back and towards the front and keep that nice and snug. And we want to purl, and we'll purl that last turn, which looks like a funny double stitch. There it is there. We'll purl it as 1. There it goes. So we're just going to pick those both up and purl the double stitch as one. Often it's abbreviated to DS. And I'm going to purl 2 more stitches past the marker. It's always written that you'll work a couple of stitches past the marker, or just whatever your designer's got you doing, but you will always work slightly past it so that you don't have a big step in your work. You'll never turn on top of a turn. And then so we'll turn and go back the other way. I'll do this a couple more times and then I'll be able to show you that we'll have some extra wee stitches. So I've turned, now I need to work my German turn. So I'm going to keep my yarn in front and slip this first stitch purlwise and keep that yarn tight while I work the first one. And I'll work to a couple of stitches past the last turn. So there's my wee double stitch. I'm going to work those as one. And work to 2 stitches past it. So there, I don't know if you can see, but what has happened here is we've got, in this tiny wee section, we've got like 4 more rows in this wee bit than we have in the rest of my Stockholm. I'm going to take these out because they're not necessary. But as you can see, this shaping starting to happen. So short rows are worked in like, a little section like this is worked in the heel of a sock. A big section you can imagine is worked on, if you were adding a bit of a tail to like a vest and you wanted a few more rows without having a big step on the edge. And they're really commonly used in shaping the neck of a top-down jersey. So I found when I was learning that the word turn just really confused me. So it's like there's lots of information needed extra in that word turn. It's like turn, and always, regardless of what you're doing, you always have your yarn in front, slip that first stitch purlwise, and then get your yarn either to the front again if you're purling, or move it over to the back and keep it quite snug. But you can see here, I had a couple of turns in here, but they're really invisible. There's a turn, and there's one there. So they're a great way of adding shaping without doing more panels of knitting. And for me, if I was finishing this, and I still have that funny wee double stitch there, I'll just complete a full round and knit that as one as I come to it. So that is German short rows. Hopefully it is cleared a few questions up for you. If you don't, drop some questions below. I'm always happy to help out. And yeah, it's very non-pattern specific German short row technique.